welcome everybody. New year, new episode 3. Today we are joined by none other than the amazing Captain M. Also joined by the fantastic, creative, athletic Stace.
Oh, wait, we should clap.
And at the end of the couch, we got none other than young, legendary herself, Kat. Welcome to our listeners, to our followers, to our community. It is a new year. Everybody's talking about new year, new me. Everybody's saying this is my year. Well, we're going to remix that. This is our year. We're going to start things off by talking about most recent events. Miami, we're coming fresh off of the Miami Marathon and half. Down in Florida, this is one of the biggest races of the area. Everybody looks forward to it. Everybody's excited. There's a lot of hype, a lot of talk. People are flying in from all over to do this race. I think so many nationalities. They posted in the athlete guide. I think Latin America flies in for this. And of course, a lot of locals. That includes us. In the lead up to Miami, guys, as Kat, M, myself, were the only ones on this panel today who didn't run Miami, but we did put in a lot of work in the build up to it. So, guys, can you tell me how that went? What was that like?
I mean, I could speak for it being awesome to just get to be a spectator this year and more on the cheer squad. I think that after last Miami, I told Kat, I said that next year I'm cheering. Whatever it takes, I'll cheer. But there's so much that goes into the planning piece prior to it because I see how you all execute and want to make sure like everything goes off without a hitch and everything is planned for every moment. So that in itself feels like I'm training for the race.
For real? Yeah.
So I'm like, I feel like I ran the half anyways. But it was a lot of fun. And I mean, I love to cheer now. I told myself like, maybe this is my new thing. Maybe I cheer for marathons.
And you end up running, you check your step count
What?
the day of.
I feel just like I would feel for a long run. I promise you I had my breakfast, my electrolytes leading up to going to this cheer squad for Kat with the team. So that was fun.
Yeah, we had a lot of things, like the planning starts pretty early. There's a lot of things. If you haven't been at Magic Mile 11, you got to check it out and you'll see what we're talking about. But not to get into the nitty gritty of it. There's a lot of things that we planned accordingly to make sure that everything goes off well. But even prior to that, making sure that we have everything, it's the shakeout. Obviously, Broward is in Broward County, so we had our shakeout in Broward the day before on Saturday, so that was really cool, getting everybody hyped up. And then, the day of, it's not just the runners arriving at the crack of dawn, or like M says, before dawn even cracks, it's the people that are going to cheer. Like, it's not just us putting it together, it's really a shout out to our community who wakes up or probably doesn't even really sleep. They take a quick nap to show up to make sure that, everything is ready to go for when that first runner passes by.
I remember that first year we did the cheer section a couple years back. It was just like, to this moment, I get goosebumps thinking about it, right? We arrived, it was dark outside still. We were kind of like trying to find our position because we had a lot of stuff to unload. So I put the pickup truck strategically, like right at the corner. We were able to find a spot. And as I'm unloading, I'm like, man, it's probably like 5 in the morning, right? And then I look off and like across the street, I see people arriving with coolers. I see people arriving with things. And like, that was community. That was like one of the community moments I'll never forget, right? We saw Angela Garvin, shout out to you, Amy Chang. That year, Christy was there. That I remember those three just like walking. I couldn't even see their faces. I could just see their silhouettes because it was kind of dark and the sun was starting. But I will never forget that because that, like, we just assembled the way we came together, and like, that year was not a lot of planning. That year was like, listen, this is what we're gonna do. Everybody show up, and people just came, and it's turned into this thing where, like, that's a pivotal point in the race. You come off that Venetian, you got the cheers squads there doing their thing, and then a little bit further up is BRS and runners left. That's our spot, and this year we added a lot of flavor to that cheer section, and it was really, really dope. So, let's kick it to I want to kick it to Stacy. This is you're the only one who ran it out of all of us here. Shout out to you. Your training block was immaculate. I was there for a lot of it. Can you walk us through how you felt running Miami this year?
Absolutely. So this is actually my second time running Miami. My first year running was when I had that experience with the cheer squad that first year with BRS. So it's a big Miami Marathon is a big platform. I mean, it's a huge stage. Like you said, you've got people from all over the world. So I was really looking forward to it. I think I had a bit of a unique situation during the race, and it was one of the hardest races and one of the hardest running experiences I've ever had to experience, not just physically but also emotionally and mentally, just because, like I said, it's such a large space where a lot of stress kind of comes towards you fast. But just to start off, around mile 1.5, I started feeling some side stitches, as sometimes we typically do as runners. And I was like, well, okay, let me try and manage this. I think, I felt this before. Let me do some dynamic breathing. Thankfully, I was with two of our great runners. Shout out Anna Marie and Dan. So they were helping me through that. We were with each other, and they were like, this is not about PRs. We're just gonna take it easy and see what feels good. So we kept going, and then shortly after the side stitches, I was like, well, maybe let me have some Gatorade, let me have some fuel. Maybe my body needs some extra support. And it was leading up to mile 5 where I felt a bit of, I started feeling some signs in my body, and I kind of felt embarrassed to share that with friends. So I did tell Anna Marie and Dan, just please keep going. You're gonna do great. You're gonna do great. But it was shortly after that I kind of had to step to the side and pull up behind some cars that were parked there, and I threw up for the first time because I started feeling some nausea kind of come up, and like you said, this was something that I've done before. I've trained. I had a great training cycle. I really prioritized sleeping. I prioritized fueling. I prioritized resting, all the things. And it can really just be that come race day, your body can tell you something very different, and you really have to listen. So after that first instant, I kind of was like, okay, let me just keep moving forward. Let's just take it easy. Let's keep moving forward. You got this. You start kind of putting those you got this. You can do this. You can do this through all costs, because you really want to get through that goal. But unfortunately, I had another instance around mile 9, and then around mile 9.5, and then a fourth instance just past mile 10. So around this and 10.3, in my head, I'm just so close to the BRS cheer squad. Shout out to you guys. That was my goal. And it's close. I was 0.5, I can make it, I can walk there. I have a 5K left for the race. In my head, I'm anyone can do a 5K. We can walk it, we can breathe through it. But I knew you start to tiptoe with those thoughts of well, maybe what if I don't finish?
That's super deep. I think that one of the things that as runners, that whole PR ER mindset, that whole push through all these things, I think it's a little toxic in thinking that at the end of the day, running, to some it's a profession, to some it's a passion, to others it's a rec thing, right? We do it for fun. Mm-hmm. We do it because we can and we get to. So, at what point did you tell yourself, okay, maybe this is going to be different? Maybe I might consider not pushing through.
I think that right at that moment where I was I'm close, I'm so close to BRS, but I don't think I can take any more steps for my own good. So I called my fiance, Omar, who's an angel.
Shout
and
out to Omar.
He came. I told him I wasn't feeling well. Of course, all the emotions come in of hey, this is gonna start to look a little different for you. And he came rushing, and then I had Kat, and thankfully Captain Gus, who came with some ice just to make sure. But the thing is, notice the signs in your body because there are people on this course that are there to help you. I mean, there was an officer nearby, came over immediately, stayed with us. There's lifetime aid station of volunteers. Like there's people there for you, and I did have to you kind of have to like take away that sense of frustration of embarrassment, or that can feel or that can come up. But it's I'm really grateful for like the immediate medical care and attention that I received, and I think it was just it's always like you want to be safe and you don't want to be sorry. Thankfully all of my blood levels and my blood sugar and my pressure, everything was coming back normal, but I was unfortunately still getting sick. So they did have to rush me medic transport to the hospital and just get loaded up with with fluids and get my body back in a relaxed state. But it really is like something and it is something that I am still processing, because it was pretty tough, because like you don't really expect to be in those conditions on like such a big platform. Like you see so many amazing runners just running past you, and you're like, this is good, this is gonna be me. Like, like, do I wish? Of course. Do I have to have the medal? Did I train for it? Did I sleep for it? Did we pay for it? But there's just no risk in my health, and I think that's like something that we can, and maybe we've all like had our own experiences with that, and like there's always going to be like another race, there's always going to be another finish line, but you don't want that to be your last day finishing for whatever reason. And something else I just want to add is that like whenever we say like again, like just to go back to your point about that, push further and go further, go faster, push past your limits. Like I always think, and I'm like, well, I like to, I think it's important to push past your fears in a way that's like, okay, like what are those mental boundaries in my head that are stopping me from, being great or being, my greatest potential, but never push past your health, like your health boundaries, and those fears. I think when we say go further, I think like the intentionality behind it is to go like 1% further, go 1% faster, because we want to be doing this, we want to be running as long as we can. And I think this is all about like longevity. PRs are great, but I think always just listening to our bodies. And
I think,
yeah.
sorry, I think Stacy, you made a good point. You said that you wanted to finish, you wanted to get the medal, but you did get the medal. The medal was your health. Like you prioritize your health, and
No
I
bigger
think
medal than that.
I think people underestimate. Yes, we wanna you sign up for these races, you wanna finish, but nothing is worth sacrificing your health. We love a medal, but we love you more, and I think that that's so important, because at the end of the day, like Elvis said, we get to do this, and one of the biggest, I think, pats on the back and something you should be extremely proud about is knowing your limitations and when to stop, because not everybody has that, and unfortunately, your outcome is not everybody else's outcome, and I think that that's something to be incredibly proud of and to really stand firm on, because that's admirable, and you did that and you trained for it, and there's always next time.
And then there's the ego piece, right? We have, you're in your head, you're making a tough call mentally. Shout out to you for being able to ignore that, because your ego is like nudging you on. That whole push past all this, PR, ER, it's rooted in ego in a sense, right? And it's cool. It makes for great captions online, and it makes for a lot of brands have slogan that to death and made a lot of money off of that type of stuff. But in real life, you gotta sometimes make tough calls. And shout out to you for doing that. We love you for it, and we love how you've educated others today. By sharing your story.
That's all we can do. I think, we can learn from these lessons and just share them, so that if anybody feels themselves in a similar situation, they can think back like, hey, maybe I should put my body first, not my mind. But thank you guys. Shout out to you guys. BRS cheer squad was out there. I've been there last year and it's incredible. So, like I said, I think we're gonna be cheering Miami Marathon from now on because it's a great race.
That cheer bug really has bit me, and as much as I wanted to run it this year, I'm coming back from that injury, and it just cheering means a whole lot more to me personally. I love to see others achieve, others run. I love to have fun. I love to inspire people, and at that point in the race, that's a good spot to kind of catapult them for the last 2 miles to do their thing. Speaking of health, we're gonna kick it to Captain M. So she's just on her return journey herself. She took a little medical hiatus. Now she's back. We see her. We see big plans she has for this year as well. Can you speak to your journey over the last couple months?
Yeah, so I had surgery back in September of last year.
Shout out to her surgeon. He did a
She.
she did a fantastic job. Okay.
So it wasn't elective, so it was something that was necessary for my own health. And I'm still recovering. I was medically cleared to run the week of Halloween, to start back gradually, which I ask, like, what does that mean? Runners don't know what gradually means.
Yeah. It's like, so I got a fracture, so that means I could go back in a week?
Yeah.
Like, what is that?
So I was like, can I run 5 miles tomorrow or 10, or what do you think? And it's like, they just look at you, so it's like, I'm not going to do any of that. And so the lesson there was, she's like, well, if you go back full speed, you're going to be right back to week 1. And I was like, I don't want to be there. I don't want to be back at week 1. So I'll be fully recovered within 6 months, so let's call it the end of March at this point. Okay. But I feel great, thank goodness. I think every month it's a big milestone. Like, I just started lifting a little bit heavier, so getting back into my weight training, which is something that I missed. I didn't think I would, but I'm able to do deadlifts again, or squat or weighted squats, and I just started that this week, and it's nice to feel that type of soreness again, which I was missing. But also to be able to get back into running. Just did the Disney half marathon a couple of weeks ago. And leading up to that, I was coming off of the surgery, trying to do the build up for my training appropriately, and it didn't go well because I got sick. I got a cold. I got 2 colds actually. So I really trained up to mile 6, let's call it. And so people were like, "What's your goal?" And I was in Disney, and I was like, to finish, and to finish healthy, to get to the starting line healthy is what my goal is, to get to the starting line healthy and to be able to cross that finish line, to be able to get that feeling again that I hadn't been able to do for a couple of months now. And so
It feels like an eternity.
yeah, it was like an eternity to me. And so when I went there, and I was so excited to just be there, be around the people, be around BRS, because shout out to all the BRS members that went out there. Shout out to the cheer squad that went out to watch us in the half and the full. I was part of the full, so that was cool to watch the cheer. But to be able to finish that, and I was telling Kat, I said, Kat, the last time I ran double digits was in August with Kathy when she was doing, prior to surgery, when she was doing her training. I remember this day, and it was 10 miles, and that's the last time I did double digits. And to be able to trust my body again, which I felt betrayed me at one point, to lead up to the surgery, is a conflicting situation, very much so. You said, Stacy, you're having conversations with yourself. While I was running, I'm like, can I really do this again? You're internally yes, you can. And I had to go back into a deep core memory when I was having my surgery, and I was getting up for the first time, because they make you walk, and you're like, how am I supposed to do that? And I'm back in the hospital, and it's a BRS Tuesday, because I'm getting ready to be discharged the day I'm in the hospital. And I'm trying not to cry, and Mike's walking me down the hospital, and he's like, oh, look, I'm outpacing you as I'm running. I'm and I can't really register in typical Mike form. But I went back to that memory specifically because, very much like you said, there's going to come a day where you can't do this. And it might be for a little bit, or whoever knows. And that was that moment. And those weeks that felt eternal. I went back to that memory so I can say, like, you're gonna finish and you feel good. As long as you feel good, nothing's bothering you in your abdomen. You're, you fueled right as best as you could. Like, let's do this. Like, just be proud of being such a badass. And I did it. And it was great. So, like, I have that really good memory of being able to do like a half again. And that's my favorite distance. But I wasn't able to do anything for about 6 weeks. So, like, no lifting, no running, just light walking. And that's not something I'm used to. This is now year 10 of my running journey. So I've been running for 10 years now. Wow. Started, I 2016. I know that's a trend, but yeah, I started. Mike signed me up. This is also Mike's fault. So shout out to my husband for signing me up for the Star Wars 5K in Disney. So when I started not to feel good, again, listening to your body, I noticed it around the time we did Global Running Day. These two young ladies I was with.
Trio here.
The trio. I noticed I wasn't feeling good. I was feeling fatigued. I was moving slower. I wasn't recovering from my runs as best as I was before. And I was like, let me chalk it up to age. It's just my age. I'm getting older. I'm pushing 40. And I'm just like, I'm ignoring it and but I'm just having a hard time now. Like, there's certain days that I didn't tell Kat this. I was feeling dizzy sometimes after my run.
She wouldn't tell me that because she knows what's coming.
She didn't know that. And I was like, oh, I got water with me. I got fuel. And so anyways, it led to going to the doctor and having some discussions about, my own health. And there's some things that we had to discuss. Like, I had low iron. I did the blood work, low ferritin levels. And I, had to schedule a surgery. And had to, do that, unfortunately. And I think leading up to all that, I went through the emotions of like, I'm not going to be able to run anymore. I have races lined up. I had Flanagan's. I had 3 Disney races I already paid for.
You had the streak too.
I had my streak.
Was it over 700 days at that point?
Over 700 days. I had all of that. And that's part of like is it the ego? Like, what is it that you're working towards that, like, you don't want to, like, maybe let these things go. But regardless, I said, yeah, let's do it on this day. Let's get it over as soon as possible. Maybe I can still go to Disney to do that race, which I did, but I did drop out. But, through that process itself, shout out to the ladies on this, on this couch. They were with me in the hospital. I don't remember much, but I know you do. I know Stacy brought me cake pops, and I was like eating them at like midnight because they wouldn't leave me alone, and I was hungry, but nobody would bring me a lot of food. So I was like, shout out to you. Shout out to Em and Kat for being there on my long run because they showed up before surgery, like at 5 a.m. with their book bags to camp out in the waiting room. And the nurse even came and said, like, do you know those girls outside? Are they your sisters? And I was like, that depends on what they're doing. Because I was like, are we getting kicked out? No, but, and then them staying with Mike, like, I couldn't ask for there's nothing that anybody can give me in like a form of an item that can ever talk, like, how, like, these ladies helped me through that. Like, it's unimaginable to have that community, and it's BRS again responsible for that because, like, if I had to go through this situation, like, if I didn't have BRS, I would have had Mike and my family, but I wasn't alone. I didn't feel alone. I woke up and the ladies were there, and so, like, the ladies were there making it as fun as you can be. Stacy met my parents. They still ask about Stacy. And you guys got to meet my best friend Dee. Shout out to Dee. She's like my sister. Mm-hmm. More community to that, and made the recovery easier. Like, I'm talking like Lizzie gave me like a basket of let me start reading. So she got me into reading. Like, how do you pass the time? I started reading. We watched Gilmore Girls from start to finish. I'd never seen that show. So poor Mike. We watched college football, so I watched it from the beginning to the end. The baseball playoffs. Took up Dancing with the Stars on Tuesday since I couldn't go to BRS. So I had something to look forward to. But I was living in that space of like, this is my time to take off. Like, I get a break.
And it's okay.
And it's okay. And it's a break to help me come back stronger, but I really needed to pause for my body. And I had to be okay with that, and I processed my emotions before surgery, but like once I went into it, I was calm, I was okay. I got the FOMO once I was starting to feel like myself and I wasn't as weak. Like I could finally open like a jar, I could like do things for myself. I got the BRS FOMO, but being in this time now, like what does like even this year look like for me? It's more about like like still listening to my body because I'm 100% in a way, but in a way I still need to make sure I'm careful coming back and not like maybe injure myself or like I don't want to go back. So it's like being in tune with, eating differently, eating more at times. And I'm so focused on sleep like right now. So if you text me at 8:30, you're not going to get a response till the next day.
Love it, love it. That is a goal. That is a goal.
I put my phone down kind of around 8:39 and like that's it for this year. And Stacy, you kind of called it out. Like my motto, I guess, if you want to call it, is do it scared. But also like a word for myself because I like to pick words is resilience. Something that Lizzie has sent me videos on this, and like when you're coming back from injury or whatever it may be, don't look back at the person you were or the runner you were. Like that's in the past. And so like what you looked like back then is not the same runner or the same person you're gonna look like in the like as you come back. And that's like, man, like I'm gonna come back different and that's okay. And like what does this version of M as a runner look like in this new season, in this new chapter? So, I had planned out for myself a couple of things that I was gonna do. So I convinced M to be my High Rocks partner. So like that's gonna be
Are you guys doing this coming High Rocks?
yeah, in April.
What?
Yeah, I convinced her to do shenanigans with me, and somebody else on this couch is also going to be probably doing that.
Lizzie and I are taking High Rocks.
High Rocks.
Worst friendships. If you do it, I do it.
That is also the motto.
Jump off the bridge, I'll jump
Yeah,
through.
for
Yeah.
sure. And High Rocks is like a big thing now. My analogy for it is like if running and CrossFit had a baby, now you have High Rocks. So shout out to you guys for that. That looks fantastic. I'll be cheering. Looking forward to it. It's April?
April,
Miami.
Miami.
Okay, BRS is coming back.
So that's going to be cool. But yeah, I mean, I think on this, I'm still learning a couple of things where it's like I've come back to BRS and the first day I came back, like I couldn't run a mile. Like, and it's like, all right, Em, it's okay. Like, it's okay. You were just out. Like, you were literally went under the knife and like you're still like healing and I have the scars to prove it. But it's like that first time I was able to run a BRS 5K on a Tuesday, I just wanted to cry. Like, I was just so excited. But the people I was surrounded with, like Kathy stayed with me. I'm like, no, I'm good. I want, like, maybe I'll do it by myself. I don't want to slow anyone down. But she like stuck with me. And that's just like, like that's pretty awesome to have somebody just be there with you in that moment. But then at the end, you have your friends like Kat and like, Stacy just like, I did it. Like I finally did it. And I didn't care about time. Like I'm not in that space right now where I'm like, it's not about time. I don't even know what my Disney time was. I didn't even look. I was just like, I got my medal. But I'm just like more about like my runs are intentional. Like how do I feel? But I also want to try to continue to build up to it because I know I can do it. But it's just about the days I don't know I can do it. Like if I'm not feeling great, if I'm just not fueled enough, I won't do it anymore. I'm not going to push through anything because I don't have anything to prove to anybody. The only person that I have things to prove to is me. And that's in my own way about what my own goals are. But I'm like more in a space where I want to cheer for other people. Like I feel better enough to where I feel like I have enough to support like you or like anybody like in cheer squad, getting to see those people do Miami for the first time in their faces as they cross the line to mile 11 makes everything about waking up at 2 a.m. like worth it. And that's where I'm like, I'm signing up for cheer squad for everything else because I just like love seeing their faces. And like, I know we've had that emotion before. I know when I ran Miami, nobody would ever come watch me run. I was just me by myself, and to have like people hug me, like it wasn't, or just like cheer my name on, like know me. I was like, oh, so to be able to return that back in like any capacity I can, like as I'm going through this, like it's great. And, I'm just pretty hopeful for what that future looks like, as I build up for the next chapter.
Shout out to Lizzie for that gem she dropped about not to look back, not to look at your former self. I think in life we tend to do that a lot, right? We focus so much on the past and on the future that we forget about the now, right? And forget, we kind of like torment ourselves in this moment and rob ourselves of the moment because we're too focused on what happened before and what's coming in the future. Like, I'm very intentional about not doing that. I try in my day to day to just focus on now, focus on today. Forget about yesterday, forget about 10 years ago, forget about your plans for the next 5 years. I try not to sit too long in those places because the now is all we really have, right? The present is all we have. This moment right here that's happening now, what we're doing on this couch, what we're doing on this show, is just, let's enjoy that, right? Let's not rob ourselves of anything. We are recapping and recalling a bunch of stuff for the purpose of letting the communities get to know us, and through our experiences, hopefully they're learning some things. But out behind the camera, outside of that, let's not try to sit too much in those places. Let's enjoy now. Let's live for now. Not to say, that YOLO saying from 2010, 2012. I'm not talking about that, right? Like, I'm talking about, like, in reality, let's really, like, kind of lock in on now, focus on now, enjoy now, the smells, the sounds, the weather. We're having some fantastic weather. I'm loving it. Loving this season down here in Florida. Everything is really, really, really dope. Let's shift gears a little bit. Kat, the girls shared their stories. A lot of what I heard was resilience, was intelligence, was listening to your body. How do those stories lend to the fact that this is our culture? And why are we, you and I as the founders, why are we so protective of that?
So I think that the most important thing, well, shout out to both of these incredible women for pushing through and listening to their bodies. I think M did an incredible job of, coming back from a major surgery and not rushing the process, because one thing in life, we always want to rush to the next, and you can't really get to the next successfully if you don't take care of that process. So super shout out to you, and big shout out to Stacy as well for, again, listening to her body in Miami. I think one of the things that you hear us, Elvis and I, preach a lot, running is cool. Running is what brought all of us together, created this BRS community. But listening to your body is very important. And as a leader, I'll be honest. I know Em has told me, Stacey has told me, I need to practice what I preach, but we really need to lead by example. And what better example of having two incredible leaders, one surgery, Stacey experienced what she did in Miami, listening to their bodies to show the community that, guess what? It's not about the medal. It's about me, being okay. And I think that one of the things that I take a lot of pride on is I genuinely care about not just these ladies, but everybody in our community. Like, I genuinely feel a connection. They're my family, and if one of them, gets hurt or isn't feeling good, I feel like it's my responsibility to make sure they're good, and also say, hey, maybe next time you need to listen to your body. And I know I'm known for sometimes tough love, but it's really sometimes, did you really need to push through that, or could you had a seat? It's okay not finish. It's okay to listen to your body, and it's okay to not have a PR. It's okay to take your time. It's okay to really enjoy the race. I think one of my memories was, I think for Flanagan's, we called it the mobile cheer squad. I think all of us were not feeling the best that day, and we decided, hey, we're not going to go all out. We're just going to enjoy the ride. And we did that. And I think that that's one of the most important things in the community we've built, that I am incredibly proud of, that we support our runners, and and I think that that's really what it's all about. Running is cool because what brought us together, but it's kind of what we're known for. But what we do is, we're a family. We support each other. We're not about, yeah, we have athletes of, yeah, exactly. Like, we're not about the clout. We're not here to, granted, even though we do podium, like, we're not here to take all the podiums. We're here to really just pour into one another. And I think that that's what BRS, like you mentioned, culture. Our culture is community over clout. Like, that's what we do.
And then, like, just to go off of community, like, yes, it's running, but even to go back to my own recovery, you know, I look back at the community that came together. I had DMs from people like in my Instagram or like, where are you? And people that I don't, you know, like I see often and they're like, are you okay? Like I haven't seen you. Or like the Hughes, like Anna Maria came to watch me. I say babysit because Mike had to leave. She came to watch over me for a couple of days and she brings like food. Like she brought quiche. I didn't even know what quiche was before this. But like, you know, M popping in with a Pasquale's pizza, shout out Pasquale's. But just like, you know, Lay checking in, just so many different people, like just the text message community, culture, that's family. And like that's so BRS and it's just like people just checking in with each other.
It's almost like it goes beyond like our weekly events. It goes beyond Tuesday. It's like you connect with someone and you think about that connection, and then if something happens, of course it's like, you know, you want to check up on them, and you feel more care that you never thought you would have later on in life. You know, it's kind of like, oh, just my parents and maybe some close friends. But then you start to build this community of like, I literally feel like I have 100 friends, and that I've grown 100 plus that we've grown over the past, you know, year that comes to BRS, and like just your presence is a amazing support, you know, for all of us.
It's definitely special what we have, and as a founder I want to always kind of protect that, right, that culture. You know, there are times where we have a BRS Tuesday or a long run and I wouldn't even it wouldn't make it to IG because, you know what, let's just kind of keep that to us. That's a us thing. The whole idea for the pop-out tour, which we did this pop-out tour from August through New Year's Day, which was 6 months of us just meeting up to run at random locations. In one of the chats on Halo, shout out Halo, we would post the address. This is pop out number 3, pop out number 5. This is the time we're meeting up. If you caught it, you caught it. If you missed it, you know, oh well. And the purpose of that was really just kind of going back to that whole root of how we started. We started with like 20 people meeting up, and it was just nothing. It was just, but it was everything at the same time, right? So it grew into this thing where now we had a responsibility to post every Tuesday after we got home from the run. And that, like, I'm like, I wanted to strip all of that away, pressure free. Let's all just pop out, literally pop out and get a run in. Whether it was 4 miles, 7, 10, some people did 20 on one of the pop outs. Shout out Norbay. And it took place in different locations, right? It was Miami for a couple of them. It was Hollywood. It was East. It was West. It was in Central. It was North. Everywhere, you know, we tried to keep it away from routes that we typically do with BRS. Just kind of like re-emphasize the point of popping out. We're literally showing up to a town and we're popping out, doing our thing, and going back. No pictures, no posts, no captions, nothing. So that essence, it felt so special to me to kind of recapture that. We did take pictures. We have a thing. We made a post about it months later, but in that moment, going back to the now, in that moment, that felt so special because
It was just for us.
Your presence, like you said, you know, it's
100%.
almost like we showed up and we were able to share with each other.
initially we're gonna probably do a pop out 2.0 this year, but
Oh goodness.
It's like a news.
I feel like the idea for that is gonna be no watch. We're not tracking it. We're just gonna literally do this route, right?
Yeah,
Leave your watch, leave your phone in the car. That's just
We're gonna try.
that's. I kicked that idea around the first time, and people looked at me like I was crazy.
How will Strava know?
Strava know?
How will Strava yearly miles know? We want BRS to stand out in a way that it's timeless, that it's classic, it's OG, and that's kind of how it feels for us. And we want to translate that into our graphics. And so I think we're all really excited to just keep seeing the direction BRS is pushing forward. I think we're going to keep growing. I'm excited to keep, growing myself there, and yeah, it'll be fun.
Beautiful, beautiful. Really looking forward to branding and eventually rolling that out. And thank you for being a driver of it. Final segment, we're gonna talk about medal moments. This is called medal moments. You see the medals behind these amazing leaders, and the ladies are gonna take a turn talking about a meaningful medal moment that they've had and show off their bling. Captain M.
By chance, put my name in for the Chicago Marathon in 2020, 2019. So I got in for 2020. Couldn't do that year for a couple of different reasons. But I immediately opted in for 2021. That was going to be my first marathon, but I ended up doing Disney in 2020. I really didn't intend on doing marathons. I said I would run my first marathon at 40. So, I mean, here we are, 4 in. But this one means a lot to me because I feel like it shaped who I am as a runner today. And even outside of running for my professional career, this crossing that finish line, I was no longer the same person I was as the girl that was training for that race. And I trained for that solo. I didn't have a community. I didn't have Kat, who ran the entire Disney training with me. I had Stacy and Omar on along with one of the runs too, but that one helped change my career, where I could pivot and now be a part of a run community because, I was working different hours and suddenly I was like, I want to do something different and I know I can because I just trained for this race. I don't know what got into me. It was the runner's high. Call it runner's high. And so after that, I was able to move on to something different. Like in the short couple of months, I started, I was like, I can talk to people outside now. So I'm like socializing. I ran into BRS, but it's also provided so much more confidence in myself of like what I'm capable of doing. So I came out with confidence from that race. And, to be able to go back there 5 years later.
Let's go. Yes.
To kind of like celebrate, where I have come 5 years later. It's like when we set goals for each other, for ourselves, like where do I want to see myself in 5 years? Like it's almost like a love letter to Chicago for me, like to say like this is what I have accomplished and what I've learned in the last 5 years. So
I'm back.
I'll be back in October.
Yes.
A little bit
yes.
different. It's gonna be sweet, I hope. I'm excited for my training block to say. I excited to start training in June. I love the summer months here.
Said no one ever.
I'm a Florida girl.
Sauna season.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I'm excited for it. But yeah, Chicago's got my heart.
Yeah, certainly Chicago. Chicago will be ready and will be ready. Stace, what's your medal moment that you want to talk about?
So I've got my first half marathon from A1A. That one was fun because I think that one was memorable because it was, like Em said, it was my first run without a run community, and that's what inspired me to look for a run community. So I always feel like this is kind of like where it all began and where I just kind of think about continuing this for a long time. So this kind of feels like a little commemorable moment. This was my first race with Omar. I don't even think we were engaged yet. So it was quite some time before. And yeah, it's good. And I think shout out to A1A because I don't know if I'll be back to Miami.
Show the people your medal, Stace.
She has a little,
And it matches.
yeah, she's cute. They did good this year. I don't know what they did. Yeah.
Do you have a medal?
I actually do because the last time, I think the last 2 times I didn't bring a medal and I didn't speak to a medal because the first one I was training for New York and then the second time I forgot. But this actually, I'm going to show a medal, but this actually isn't the medal that I wanted to bring, but it represents. So this is the 2023 Miami half medal. The medal that I wanted to highlight was the 2022 Miami half medal because that's the year Elvis and I met at the start line. And that medal is, I've done a couple fulls, I've done halves, 10Ks, 5Ks, but that is the medal that matters the most to me and it means the most because it's the medal that really changed the trajectory of my life. I never thought, I didn't see it on my bingo card that I would be living in Florida, in my 30s. I didn't think that, being a run club leader was in my cards or running marathons, but that marathon, that half marathon means a lot to me. Again, it's changed my life. It's brought incredible friendships, family into my life. And I'm going to try not to cry because, I get very sappy when I talk about that. But it's just incredible that you think you have a plan for your life. And what is that to say? God laughs at you when you make plans. So that is the most precious medal I have. And I can't bring it because Elvis had it framed for us. So that's my medal. And that represents, my life and the changes, the amazing changes and amazing things that have happened since then. So that's my favorite medal.
I love it. I love it. Wow. Shout out to Miami 2022 and all the years. Miami's medal this year was fantastic. Really, really nice. That spinning feature always takes me back to like G Unit for some reason. Back in the early 2000s, the spinning rims back in the early 2000s, late 90s. That always brings me back to that. So it's a nice touch that Miami has obviously owned over the years. Ever since I can remember, their medals all have that spinning feature to it, which is really, really dope. I'm glad they've kept that. Shout out to Lifetime. Shout out Frankie. Shout out everybody involved with the Miami half and full. BRS is always thrilled to be a part of everything that goes on tied to that race. That brings episode 3 to a close. I hope you all enjoyed listening to our stories, listening to our banter. This is really what we do when we're chilling, having pizza or having moments away from anything Run Club. We just kind of come together and kick it and share stories and pour love into one another and all this transcends to what we do when we're out there leading the club. Thank you for joining us today, everybody. That brings episode 3 to a close. See you soon.